Hey y'all, welcome to Kamira's Kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how to turn this into this. And no, you don't need any special equipment or anything fancy. You also don't have to be an experienced jam maker. I'm going to take you step by step through this delicious recipe that you and your family and friends are going to love. Baby, they're going to beg you for this, okay? So if you don't want people knocking at your door, hunting you down, then don't share it with nobody, okay? Let's go ahead and get started. You're going to need some half-pint canning jars in order to can this jam. Now, we're going to be making some delicious carrot cake jam. That's right. It is going to taste just like carrot cake in a jar. Now, these are brand new half-pint jars, so I'm going to wash them with hot soapy water. And that little sponge I'm using, that's an African sponge. They are excellent for washing dishes. Even though I am using canning jars today, I have technically seen some people can their jams and jellies and reuse jam and jelly jars from the store. I've never tried it, and it's definitely not USDA approved, but people in other countries do it sometimes, so I'd be curious to see how it turns out. I'm going to allow these to dry at the side while I start measuring and prepping the other ingredients. So I am using 1 cup of whole pears. They have been canned. However, you can cut up fresh, but it is okay to recan fruit that has already been canned before. All right. So I'm going to chop these up kind of small. You can chop them to the size you want them to be in the jam. Let me know if you're an experienced or a newbie jam maker. You guys know we do everything from scratch over here. Okay, we do bread from scratch. We do jam from scratch. We can do everything from scratch. And I really love doing things like jams from scratch because you get so many more options. Like, tell me, when is the last time you saw a carrot cake jam for sale in the store? Never, right? And I also really love making homemade jams because you can just use them for things like pancakes and French toast and cream cheese and bagels. You have so many options for what you can do with this. I am going to peel and shred enough carrots so that I can get 2 cups. You could technically leave the peel on, but it's going to give a bit of an earthy taste to your jam. Now, one hint, when you get down to this little nub, baby, don't grate your fingers off, okay? Just go ahead and eat that little bit and get your vitamins in, all right? I like some raisins in my carrot cake, okay? What do you like in your carrot cake? Because for me, I got to have raisins, nut, coconut, and pineapple. I got to have everything, all right? So I'm going to chop up the raisins as well as some walnuts. If you got nut allergies, you can leave this out. Or if you want to do some with nuts and some without, you can just add the nuts to the individual jars instead of cooking them into the jam. Into a heavy bottom pot, I am going to add a 20-ounce can of crushed pineapple with the juice as well as the pears, some carrots, 3 tablespoons of lemon juice, and some spices. Now, I really love cinnamon and nutmeg in this. That's the flavor of carrot cake to me, as well as a little bit of ginger. However, if you like clove or allspice, you can also add that as well. I'm going to cover this and cook this on medium for 20 minutes. Every once in a while, I'm going to go in and stir, and you want to check on the liquid level because you don't want all the liquid to burn out. And of course, you do not want this to be dry or else your fruits and veggies are going to burn. After 20 minutes, I'm going to take this off of the stove and we're going to add the pectin. This is what you need, okay? This is going to make the jam a jam, okay? You can easily find this in Walmart on the canning aisle, and you can also buy it from Amazon. You're going to mix this into the veggie and fruit mixture until it thoroughly dissolves. You don't want any lumps or anything like that. And then we are going to put it back on the stove on medium high. This is about a 7 or 8 on an electric stove. Now, I know I just put in a dump trunk of sugar. Okay, I know some of y'all gonna be like, what is my sugar level and diabetes? It's jam, y'all. It's jam. You're only supposed to use about 1 tablespoon at a time. Okay, calm down, keyboard warriors. All right. We're gonna cook this on medium high until it comes to a rolling, aggressive boil. Okay, this should be at the point where you might get popped with some sugar lava. Okay. You're going to let this boil for 2 minutes, stirring continuously at that vigorous boil. Then you're going to cut the stove off, and I am going to add about half a teaspoon of butter. This is going to help get rid of all of that foam. If you are plant-based or vegan, you don't have to use the butter. You can just skim the foam off of the top. Your add-ins are super flexible and just dependent on what you like. I'm going to put in 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, of course, walnuts, raisins, some ginger, and some coconut. But if you're allergic to nuts, you leave that out. Or maybe you want to add extra raisins. Go ahead and do it, all right? It is your carrot cake jam. You can do what you like. Or maybe you don't want none of them, and that's fine too. But then, is it really carrot cake jam, or is it just carrot and pineapple jam, okay? I don't know, but I feel like the nuts are really good. Now, while you don't need any special equipment, I will say that there are 2 things that are going to make this a lot easier. The first one is a funnel. This is like a 99-cent funnel. It's really going to help you fill up your jars easier. I am filling them up until they have a 1/4 of an inch head space. That means there's about a 1/4 of an inch at the top left that is not full of jam. So you don't want to fill these all the way up to the top. When I got to the end of the jam, I realized that all of it was not going to fit. So instead of using a 1/2 pint jar, I went for a 1/2 of a 1/2 pint, okay, which is a 4-ounce jar. And I'm going to use that one, which is actually the perfect size for me because I'll be giving the larger jars away. When you spill a bit of the jams on the jars, you have to wipe it off, okay? Because if there is food and things on the side of the jar, or especially the top rim, it can prevent the lid from sealing well during the canning process. I am going to take a paper towel, and I put a little bit of water on it just so it'll dissolve any of the sugar. And I'm going to wipe around all of the jars before putting on my lids. Then I am going to take the rims and I am going to screw them on what we call fingertip tight. That means don't put your wrist, don't put your back, okay, don't put your bicep in it. Okay, it should be tight, but definitely not extremely tight, because while this is canning, it's going to release a little bit of steam and you don't want that lid to be super tight. Even though I am using a canner, you don't have to have a canner, all right? You can use a regular stock pot and put a kitchen towel at the bottom or some type of rack to keep it off of directly from the bottom of the pot and fill it up with water with your jars in it. You can also do this in the Instant Pot on saute mode. The other thing I do suggest you having was that little device that I use to grab the jars. That's one of the only other things that would actually make this easier. I'm going to cover this until this water comes to a roiling, angry boil, and then I'm going to cook it on that rolling boil for 10 minutes. Then I'm going to cut the eye off and then take the cans off of the heat. Since this is a rack, I'm going to lift it out and I'm going to take this and put this on the counter, but I have covered it with a kitchen towel. These jars are super hot, so if I were to just place them straight on the cold counter, it could be a potential that the jars could bust. You just want to leave these cans to sit for 24 hours and you'll start hearing them click, you know, kind of do a little popping sound, and that is going to let you know that your jars are sealed. It's the next day, they are completely cooled, and I'm going to test the seal. I just grab it by the side, I can lift it up, and I can see that the seal is very tight. You don't want to store the jars with those rings on, okay? That actually can increase the chances of having a false seal. I'm also going to label these with carrot cake jam and the date that I made them. Now, I'm going to try this jam for you all. This jam is really good, and one of my favorite ways to eat it is with some cream cheese on some toast. That really gives you, you know, carrot cake vibes, you know, like the frosting, and then you know what I'm talking, you know where I'm going with this, okay? So I'm going to add me about a teaspoon of this jam, making sure I get me a nut and a raisin on there because that is one of my favorite parts. And then when you store this, now you can add a ring because I'm going to put this in the fridge. Okay, y'all, now I'm gonna try this delicious carrot cake jam with this cream cheese on toast. I'm gonna get the piece with a little nut on it. This is delicious. This tastes like, y'all, carrot cake, okay? But in a jam form, and you don't have to go through all the effort of making the cake, and of course you can have it long term. Share your ideas for how you would use this carrot cake jam in the comments. And I'll see you next time at Kamira's Kitchen. Goodbye and God bless.